Today, we took a break from working on the MT-09 and the other projects for Luciano. Everything is drying up, everything is great, and we hit a beautiful day. It was projected to be at least 40 degrees by lunchtime. Well, we decided to head north, and when we headed north, it's always a lot colder. In fact, some of the lakes were frozen. They were still ice fishing on them. So it was a little chilly, but you know what? Even a chilly ride, even a ride where it's cold like this, is better than no riding at all, and definitely better than a day on Rikers Island, that's for sure. It's shaping up to be a very unpredictable day. Sometimes that works out really well, sometimes not so much. The bed and breakfast is working as better than we ever thought it would, and we're enjoying every minute of having the kids here, of course. But I wake up this morning and I always check the weather. Karen checks the weather. We kind of look to see if they're the same. A lot of times they're not. And it's supposed to go above 40 before lunchtime today, so I was thinking, I think I'm going to take a break on working on the MT-09, and I'm going to rearrange, and I'll explain what I'm planning on doing, or change my priority list a little bit. I have a couple of things that I noticed from looking at all the photo shows that we did and having them on a computer and having input and feedback from several people, and I'll share that before I head out. But it looks like we're going to get a ride in today, I hope. And this is the bike of choice when you're going to go for a ride on salty roads. Easy to clean, and it doesn't have a lot of places underneath and inside where you can't get to, just in case the roads are overly salted, and they always are. And just like every of these unpredictable days, the first thing is to move the motorcycles around, play parking lot attendant, move some of that furniture that we have in here storing, and check out how Luciano's tank is drying up. And having an extra day of drying on that will be great. But I do have some things that I wanted to share about the photo shows that we've been doing and how productive they've been. And maybe some information there that can work for you if you're doing up some custom features of your bike. So Luciano's tank dried up, just couldn't be any better. And I'm sure he's going to be happy as can be. Whenever he can break away and come and pick it up, he'll be very happy. All right, time to move some motorcycles. So initially the plan was going to be, and as we watch, I have a jet going right over the house here. The original plan here was going to be, I was going to work on a windshield next, but I changed that after looking at the pictures that I took the other day. Now, except for the wheels, all of the changes we've made to the bike are small detail changes. And I always say, small details make big changes. On the 650, there was a part I had to make from scratch, from carbon fiber, and it's this side cover piece that covers the front part of the shock. Had to make two of them, two matching mirror images from carbon fiber, and that, as a small detail, it took about, well, a long time to make it, but that changed the whole look of the bike. Now on this bike there's a similar thing I've been thinking about. I've left it to the end, and that's making that side cover piece. I have the carbon fiber material already made. Not sure how I want to do it. A lot of this stuff is subject to figuring out how to do it and how to attach it and whatever. So I changed my priority. I want to make, and it's going to require some cutting and making and some carbon fiber. I'm going to modify and then reinstall the chain guard. Now I usually don't like to have a chain guard because I like to maintain the chain. Makes it a lot easier to clean it when you don't have a chain guard. And to be honest, the chain guards, if you use chain wax, they don't really do that much. Now it was a major thing on this bike, painting the chain guard black, and I had thought about making the MT-09 black, but the problem is, every time I paint something blue on that bike, I like it even more. And having gloss black instead of flat black, needless to say, that floats my boat. So what we're really doing is using the stuff that we learned doing one restoration to make some changes on the other one, and we still have that chain guard, I think, in blue. I think that's gonna, and every time I add blue to that bike anywhere, I like it better than flat black, the part it replaces. And that's where having all the photo shows and having them on your computer, see, I can see it needs something blue in the back there. And I don't think the gloss black could do it, but, well, we're going to find out. And the good news is, if you don't like it, you just take it off. No, literally, there's 1,000 hours of restoration there you're looking at. Maybe just in the wheels, I don't know. Anyway, the whole point is this is something I do enjoy. And one of the next things, I have some ideas for the windshield, and I think they're going to be one of the things I always think about. There'll be a very small change, just like the lettering, just like many of the other things. Painting that tail section was a big thing. The wheels was a big thing. But a lot of little details, and it's going to add up to being a totally unique bike. And that's what I wanted. And you know what happens? Every time I go back on the computer and look at this bike the day I bought it, I was in the showroom. I hadn't even paid for it yet, and I was dreaming up things I could do to it. So it's a work in progress. I hope you enjoy sharing this adventure with us. But today it looks like, if you look real close, sky is blue. It's just under 40 degrees now. I'm going to have my coffee, take care of the farm stuff, take care of whatever Karen has to do, and hopefully get out on the open road today for a bit. And my priority list for the changes to the MT-09, there's at least a dozen things on there, and I'm trying to schedule them in a way that makes sense so that I can see how this bike is going to evolve. And boy, it has really evolved since the day I bought it into, to me, a totally different bike. And I'm just taking a few pictures and looking around for some other ideas. But yeah, having that chain guard in blue, and it's amazing. You get rid of a flat black part, you replace it with something painted and shiny, to me, changes the bike significantly. And that side cover piece, that was made from, really from carbon fiber and from many ideas I had, and I finally figured out what I wanted to do, and I waited right to the end, and it was worth every minute. That changes the bike. And I always like to get a coat of that wax on the bike before I head out into the salt fields, and those roads still have plenty of salt on them. That's well, it's really cold up here north. We're a little north anyway, and there's still ice on the pond. Now Rutherford, it's a little bit warmer, but not up here. It's cold. So I always like to start off the ride seeing just how slippery the roads are, and I learned right away there's more salt on the road than you think. That salt just, I don't know, it's everywhere, and no matter how you try to avoid it, it's there. So on the ride today, I was thinking about Stefan and going to jail for having a radar detector in Romania. Wow, am I glad. Jose and I'd be in jail for 20 years already. Anyway, that radar detector always saves your bacon. Now this bike is an '09. It does not have ABS, traction control, quick shifters, any of the real safety stuff. And it's got, the rear tire is coming up on ready to be changed. In fact, I'll put that Michelin 5 that was on the MT-09 on there. It's coming up on a tire change. Hey, the lakes are really frozen. I can't believe how cold it is. It was so nice in Rutherford. It was going to be 40 degrees today. What happened? That's all solid ice. There's actually were people walking out on the ice before. Now this bike gets over 50 miles to a gallon when you ride like a human being, but of course we really seldom do. Look at the salt on the road here. Look at the salt on the road. And solid ice on pretty much all the lakes up north. Now, if you live in a part of the world where they don't super salt the roads like they do here, you have no idea how slippery that gets, because this salt just seems to have some moisture in it, and it can make you crazy when you want to ride a little aggressively. So, of course, some of the areas do have houses, and I do love those back roads where there isn't a house for miles at a time. But there are some areas like this where I'm not sure, but it's nice knowing you have a quiet bike like this. You really don't attract a lot of attention. You can really enjoy it in these crowded areas. The sun was going in and out, all for the whole 3 hours we were gone, 3.5 hours. And one of the things makes this bike enjoyable to me, it's very, very comfortable. It's way more comfortable than an all-out sport bike, say like an R6 or an R1. Now this is a Ninja model, and this was the only model they made with the bigger throttle bodies. And one of the things this bike has that I just love, it has got beautiful torque right off idle. You don't have to rev it like an R6. It really, really has nice power. Now, when I lowered the forks on this bike, and the forks, I've never put them back because it quickened up the steering in a way that I like on these back roads, especially switchbacks. It just made it a little quicker turning in, and that works on every bike. Now, I've had other tank bags, but this is the Jivy, and I got it from Vlad. Thank you, Vlad. And this is by far the best of the tank bags that I've had, with the radar detector and all the spare tire stuff. All the rescue stuff you need when you ride by yourself far from home. Now, when I did track days with this bike, and Luciano was not sure I was going to enjoy the day when we took it to Pocono the first time, and he was not sure it was going to be fun on a track. It was absolutely a blast on the track. It was a great little track. The ice must be so thick they're ice fishing out there. There's actually guys out there ice fishing. I assume that's what they're doing. Is that ice fishing? I can't tell. I'm always amazed how much colder it is up here than down in Rutherford. That is amazing. Now, the bike has 32,000 miles on it, over 32,000 now. And one of the things that's real nice, the maintenance on this bike, because it's a twin, super easy to clean on a day like today when the roads are salty, half the time of doing one of the 4-cylinder bikes. So the tires that just came off the MT-09, those are not even half used up, and they're the Michelin 5s, and I'm going to be putting them on this bike when it's time for a tire change, and I think I'm going to get 10,000 out of them. They are just, they advertise them as premium tires, and they are good. Hey, the lakes are really frozen. I can't believe how cold it is here. It was so nice in Rutherford. It was going to be 40 degrees today. What happened? That's all solid ice. There's actually were people walking out on the ice before. And usually about the 3-hour mark into a ride, especially on these bumpy roads, I start appreciating how good the seat is on this bike and the MT-09 both. I'm really blessed to have two very comfortable bikes. So this is for Michelle. She always leaves Perry's, does a nice big wheelie for everybody. Donnie does wheelies. I'm the only guy that doesn't do wheelies. I haven't done wheelies since, oh my God. This was a longer than normal day, and it'll be really great to get back to the house and get a cup of coffee going. And I'm sure as soon as I pull in the driveway, Karen will have a nice warm cup of coffee. They're doing some cooking for the bed and breakfast crowd tonight, and I just can't wait to get a nice cup of coffee. It was colder up here than I thought it would be. Whoa, this was we stole a ride right in the middle of the winter. Look at that day, beautiful day. Ooh, who would have ever expected it? Absolutely amazing. The unpredictability of it all. On a day like today, I think every one of the 500 hours I spent on this restoration, every minute of that time was worth it. This bike never is disappointing. So this really was an unexpected treat, having a day like this in the middle of the winter, and knowing Luciano's tank is drying up, and we're making more plans for the MT-09, the little details for it. But through it all, this bike is always a reliable, all-weather fighter is the best word I know. So anyway, I hope you did enjoy the little vacation we had from winter, but I think tomorrow we're going to get back to working in the shop. So hopefully you did enjoy the video. Share it with your friends if you did. And we try to post up something relating to motorcycling, or maybe relating to life in general. I don't know. I'm never quite sure where this goes. But that's the fun of it. The fun of all motorcycling is you never know what tomorrow brings. You never know what the weather's going to be. You're always subject. You're a slave to the weather, whether you're working or riding. Today we stole one. This was a free one. In the middle of a really nasty winter, we got to have a ride. Even though it was a little cold, hey, I'll warm up. That's why I drink a lot of coffee. Keep me warm on these really cold rides. So if you enjoyed the video, I hope you share it with your friends. And of course, I hope, most of all, that we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks again for watching.